Good morning and welcome to December 18th, 2024's public board meeting. I would like to call this meeting to order at 10 o'clock and pass over to Trustee Gibbons for this morning's land acknowledgement, please.
Thank you, Board Chair. Sturgeon Public Schools respectfully acknowledges that we teach, learn, and grow together on Treaty 6 territory and homeland of the Métis. We honor and respect the history, languages, ceremonies, and culture of the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people who have called this land home for countless generations. We recognize the Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, Dene, Nakota Sioux, and Inuit for their care, love, and stewardship of this place. We are grateful for those who share their knowledge with us and help to foster a respectful relationship with all of our relatives on this land. We are committed to understanding the harms done in the name of education and continue to learn to honor the true spirit of Treaty 6 as a promise of friendship, collaboration, and a peaceful alliance.
Thank you very much. Any additions, deletions, amendments to the agenda as presented? Seeing none, can I ask for a motion to approve? Thank you, Trustee Briggs. All in favor? I can't see Janine. And at this time, we'll acknowledge that Janine is online. Thank you. There you go. I can see you now. Hopefully everybody's had an opportunity to read through the minutes of the previous board meeting. Any corrections? Thank you to those who pointed out some spelling errors in the package earlier. That's appreciated. I'm looking for an approval of the minutes at this time. Thank you, Trustee Dwyer. All in favor? Carried unanimously. I don't think we have business arising from the minutes. And so we will move into 6.1 presentation delegations. And we do have one this morning, 6.1 Ochre Park, a place to study and outdoor learning.
Yeah, they were eating stuff. Michelle, I think they're in the Hill Point. Are they out there? Are they ready?
Sorry, I probably went too fast.
No, you're good.
Good morning.
Good morning. You guys have the whole front.
Can even sit in the chairs.
We're gonna stand. Shauna, do we need the mics on up front?
Probably want us to stand closer. How do we want to do mics? Will they stay on all that? Okay. Oh, my friends, they should pick up.
Before you begin, I just wanted to pass along Janine Peckwin's, Trustee Peckwin's regrets. She was trying very hard to make it in this morning and it didn't work, but we have her on video right here. So she's watching from her laptop. All to you guys. Thank you for coming this morning.
Thank you for having us.
It's not true. When you need to do that, then you said it's auto time.
Yes. So if we hit the slideshow and then we auto time it for 15 seconds for the auto play, that would be great.
It is auto time, right?
You have to turn it on.
Yeah.
Should be down at the bottom corner. Yeah. Yep. Auto play. 15 seconds and then play at the top.
You're helping me. You guys ready?
All right, are we ready, friends? Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Janaea Gingras, and I have the pleasure of serving as Ochre Park Schools principal. Today, we are speaking to you about our Place Study Initiative and our outdoor learning journey this year. This passion project started a couple of years ago and has gained traction after the March 2024 PD session that was provided last year at the comp. We expanded into our Place Study initiative to also include the 13 Moons study, which connects with the teepee we raised last year, as well as working to get outside to do our learning as much as possible. So I brought some wonderful owls along with us today to share just a small snippet of some of the amazing things that we're doing at our school. So thank you for providing this opportunity to share this story.
My name is Macy, and I am in T3P. Hi, my name is Brett, and I'm a student from 2J.
And my name is Oliver Hintz, and I am in 34W.
And my name is Robert in 1G.
Hi, my name is Lisa, and then I am a student in 4G.
And my name is Deb Vanstone, and I'm the Indigenous EA.
I like learning about different moods in our Place Study because it reminds me of how Mother Nature is always changing, just like how the moods change each month. My favorite moon is the frost moon because everyone is always happy when the snow comes during the frost moon. The sun doesn't come out all the time, and the clouds take up the sky. I like getting to go learn outside because we draw pictures of what we see and learned about, like seeing how nature would change each month. When we went to our spot in front of the school at the beginning of the year, the grass was starting to turn brown, but now we don't see it because we don't see the grass anymore. It's because the snow is covering it. My favorite memory at our Place Study spot was when first we visit. I learned that there were different moons. Now I know the leaf moon and the frost moon.
Like our Place Study because I get to go outside. I learned about my senses. In September, my senses were that I saw a tree, I smelled a friend, I touched a leaf, I heard the wind pushing the tree. This month, my senses were that I saw a shovel, I smelled the freezing wind, I touched the shovel, I heard my friends talking. We are learning about the frost exploding tree moon. My favorite fact is that the sap in the tree freezes and then the tree will crack from the hard sap. My favorite memory of learning outside was when we went to our spot, stopped and talked to each other about what nature looked like and was doing.
I like learning about all the different moons when we do our Place Study, mostly the eagle moon. I like the eagle moon because I also like eagles. This is the moon where the eagles return to build a nest for mating season. I like learning outside because sometimes we get to play after we do some learning. My favorite part of being outside is when we get to go in the trees. It's fun and it also provides shelter when it's raining or snow. Me and my friends like building forts in the trees. The school fort started as a small teepee that I could barely fit in, but as a school, we made the fort bigger and now 5 people can fit inside. The trees are awesome. During our Play Study, I liked learning about how the moons overlap with the seasons. When it was fall, it was the leaves falling moon. We saw the grass wasn't green anymore, the leaves were falling, and it was windier. Now that it's cold, it is the frost exploding tree. We got lots of snow now. You can't see the grass anymore. We can make big snowballs outside, and kids were breaking branches because it was easier. I really enjoy going outside to do our Play Study.
The best part about my Place Study area is the trees because I like to draw trees as we are looking to see if the trees change for each season. My tree hasn't changed because it's a pine tree and it has needles. I like learning outside because we can build snow people in the winter. My teacher wants us to compare sizes of our snow people. This was our math and science project. The most
interesting thing I have learned through my play study was learning about the trees. I like seeing the leaves change color. The leaves are red, yellow, orange, and some green. I watch how the leaves fall to the ground. My favorite part of play study is when we take 2 minutes to breathe with nature. I like doing this because when we're angry or sad, breathing with nature can help us feel better. I love getting to learn outside, especially when we're learning about plants and animals. It reminds us of how nature is alive and not just something to look at. Humans have different emotions and ideas, which is the same as nature because it's always changing and is never the same. My favorite thing we've learned outside has been that in Africa there is a type of tree that when an animal tries to eat it, it will send poison through the roots to the other trees to protect them from animals. So far, we have learned about the leaves falling moon and the frost moon. One thing I have learned about the leaves falling moon is that the temperature starts to change and the leaves from the trees start to fall down. One thing about the frost moon is that the frost starts to form onto the trees and the wind blows, which makes the frost come off and it looks like it's snowing little snowflakes. Oak Park is special because other schools don't learn outside like we do. I have learned that if we learn outside, we can learn that it is not just us on this planet, it's the nature too. It's the beauty in our world.
Lori Morse had this idea, this incredible idea, to have a Cree-Moon bulletin board that is centrally located in our school. I created this board with a spotlight of the curtain we were in, as well as the 13 rooms that we go through. It has the Cree spelling, as well as the pronunciation, and what is going on in nature at that moment. This coincides with our place study journal that every student and staff member has. Each class has chosen a special place outside that we return to every month. We go through the booklet and make observations. So this is our booklet. It has our Cree newsletter that we go through as a class. We put the date, what the weather is, we draw our observations. We put our colors that we see, and we draw what our senses experience in nature. Our school has grown in knowledge, and I have noticed this knowledge has been infused throughout the day. Students are more aware of nature, the changes, and they're talking about it. They know the moods. The familiarity with this information is awesome. Students and staff are infusing nature-based learning into their daily practices. We enjoy our outside school picnics. We have Bannock as part of our school-wide snack program, which we have brought a sample for you. It's on the table. Can you go give some napkins to all the grown-ups?
We did wash our hands. Just so you know.
Thank you.
Oh, do you want to come get? Oh, we've got 3 along the wall. Do you want some Bannock? Jan's come. Thank you. We didn't bring knives.
Thank you.
Oh, those are fun nails.
Oh, yeah.
Very festive.
Should be great. Yeah. Trustee Buga.
Thank you so much for the presentation. That was fantastic. It's also, I've been thinking a lot about the solstice, which is the shortest day of the year coming up right away. But I wanted to ask, when is the eagle moon? Do you know what time of year it's at? You said that one was your favorite. Do you remember when it is? You said that was when eagles make their nests?
February?
Oh, okay. So it's coming up soon. That's fantastic. I'll have to watch for that. You guys have shared a lot of information and some really great observations with us today. I really appreciate it.
Trustees, anybody else have questions? I just wanted to say how incredibly lucky you guys are to have this program right in your school. Some people have to go to special places like university for this, and you get to have it right there in your classrooms every single day. And how lucky are you for that? And so thank you so much for sharing with us, because we would not have this information if you guys hadn't brought it to us. So keep doing the great work. You are always welcome to come back and share any new learnings you have. And thank you to the adults who support you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, and Superintendent Warren has one thing. Sorry, guys.
This is a very busy time of year, so I really would like to give a shout out to Janaea for bringing the kids, because I know how busy it is, and thank you, because I know you guys are also very busy. Also, I know you have very important people watching you online right now, and guess what? The board meetings are all public, so that means once the link is uploaded, you guys could go back and see yourselves present, and so can your parents, grandparents, etc. So please share that, because this is a very big deal. Thank you for being, this is our first student presentation this year, and you did fantastic. Thank you for being such great ambassadors to our division.
Thank you. Do you guys want waves? Follow the step. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Start by reading them. Okay. Okay, so start with that.
Oh, your thank you gifts.
Oh, no. Shoot. Quick, catch them.
Yeah.
They probably have a lot easier to put on.
Sorry about that, everybody. Okay. You guys get to listen to me read another bylaw. How lucky are all of you? I ask that at this time that the Board of Trustees approve the proposed bylaw 02-2024 to require criminal record checks for trustee nominations at the first reading in this meeting in order to require criminal record checks for trustee nominations. The Sturgeon Public School Division bylaw number 02-2024, a bylaw to require criminal record checks for trustee nominations. Preamble, section 21.1 of the Local Authorities Election Act allows an elected authority to, by bylaw passed prior to December 31st of the year before a year in which a general election is to be held, require a person seeking to be nominated as a candidate to provide a criminal record check. Section 28 of the Local Authorities Election Act provides that A returning officer shall not accept a filing, except for filing a nomination that is not accompanied with a criminal record check required by bylaw. B, at any time after the commencement of the nomination period until the term of office to which the filed nomination papers relate has expired, a person may request to examine the filed nomination paper during regular business hours and in the presence of the returning officer, deputy, or secretary. And C, a filed nomination paper must be made available in partial or redacted form as necessary, but the results of the criminal record check must not be withheld or redacted except to ensure that the mailing address of the candidate and of the candidate's official agent is not disclosed. The Board of Trustees of Sturgeon Public School Division deems it advisable to require a person seeking to be nominated to provide a criminal record check with their nomination. The Board of Trustees of the Sturgeon Public School Division enacts Title 1. This bylaw may be cited as the criminal record check bylaw. Definitions. 2.1. Unless otherwise specified, words used in this bylaw will have the same meaning as defined in the Local Authorities Election Act. And 2. In this bylaw, A, criminal record check means a check conducted by a police service in Alberta, which must indicate or must include results of both local and national records, including charges and convictions. Criminal record check. 3. Every nomination of a candidate for the office of trustee must be accompanied with a criminal record check issued no later than 90 calendar days prior to the date the nomination is submitted. Effective date. 4. This bylaw comes into force on the day that it is passed. Read. All in favor? Unanimous. Unanimous. We'll now move to the second reading. That the Board of Trustees approve the proposed bylaw 02-2024 at the second reading of this meeting in order to require criminal record checks for trustee nominations. All in favor? Oh, wait. The Sturgeon Public School Division bylaw number 02-2024, a bylaw to require criminal record checks for trustee nominations. Now all in favor? Carried unanimously. I now ask that the Board of Trustees approve the third reading of the proposed bylaw 02-2024 to require criminal record checks for trustee nominations at this meeting. All in favor? Carried unanimously. That the board, okay, now I ask that the Board of Trustees approve the proposed bylaw 02-2024 at the third reading in this meeting in order to require criminal record checks for trustee nominations. The Sturgeon Public School Division bylaw number 02-2024, a bylaw to require criminal record checks for trustee nominations. All in favor? Unanimously carried. Okay. Moving on to number 8, administrative reports. 8.1, alternative programs report, December 2024. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to turn it over to the division principal. This is a report that you get annually, and as discussed in the environmental scan, just talking about our programming, we have some very exciting things happening in division, and it's nice to see these programs returning and growing in numbers. And I will turn it over to Mr. Stephen.
Hi there, Dan Stephen, division principal. So you have the report before you that you read. I just want to highlight a few things from the report. Our dual credit grants, which we received this year, $50,000 startup grant for culinary arts at Redwater. So we will be starting a program in the second semester with our post-secondary partners, NAIT or SAIT, and we've got kind of plans in place for both of them to see which one's going to best suit the students of Redwater. So I'm in conversations with the principal out there for that. But we're excited to have that and hopefully follow that up with an enhancement grant next year in Redwater for improving the culinary arts space at the school. We also received an enhancement grant of $100,000 for the automotives shop at Sturgeon Composite High School. And the teacher there, in consultation with the principal, have worked at spending that grant. They've bought some new engines that they can work on, pull apart and work on, that are new and modern and equipped with all of the electronics of today's motors. They've also got some brake drum trainers and some electrical trainers that they've spent that money on. So lots of good things happening in the CTS departments at both Redwater and Sturgeon Composite High School. The other success that I want to speak to is just the partnership that we have with NAIT. We have had a cohort of students, at least 15 a semester, that take part in Welding 1000 course online through NAIT. And so these group of 15 students participate every Tuesday and Thursday after school, 4 to 6, taking the class, taking tests. We were able to have our shop day at NAIT last Saturday. So I went and hung out there for the day, and it was a very cool experience to see the kids get to actually be at NAIT, using their equipment in their shops, and a lot of the joy in their faces at the end of the day were just, I can't wait to come to NAIT now. And as much as a sell job to NAIT, but it's a sell job for themselves, that they're able to find their passion and see themselves somewhere down the road, which is great. We're expanding that next semester. We've got another cohort of welding, but we also have heavy equipment technology going there. So we've got 24 students that are able to take that in both Redwater and Sturgeon Composite. So we will a meeting with them tomorrow to kind of go through the lab space and meet with the instructor, and they've been a great partner and done a great job. They're very patient. The instructors are supportive, and they've been really great for the kids, and the kids have responded very well. So those are just a couple of things that I wanted to highlight from the report. But I'm also open to any other questions that you might have from other aspects.
Any questions, Trustee Buga?
Thank you, Trustee Buga, Ward 5. Just out of curiosity with the automotives, I'm assuming that we get the enhancement, or we hope to get the enhancement grant yearly. Does the automotives, are they going to be looking at like electric motors and like starting that, understanding some of the changes that are happening in the automotive industry as well?
Yeah, actually, that was the motor that they bought was it was a hybrid, anyways, not a fully electric, but a hybrid. And I haven't talked to teachers specifically about all electric, but this one in particular was a hybrid, and they also are looking at hydrogen fuel cells as well in the class. So we put some money last year in the startup grant to that, and they've been working away on those. So trying to stay up to date as much as they can with what they have there.
Trustee Murray Elliott.
Just a comment. I want to say thank you to everyone for all their hard work. I love this report, and I'm really proud of this division and how we can offer such great opportunities to our students. I think that's so important, and I think we're doing a great job, and it's thanks to everyone's hard work. So.
Yeah, thank you. There's some exciting things happening, so and more on the road, so it's good.
Trustee Dwyer.
Joe Dwyer, Ward 3. Yeah, great stuff. Do we connect, how do we connect all our alternative programs with RAP? Do we work outside to make sure that they have that opportunities to take that skill into a RAP program?
Yep, so we have connections with Careers, which is a provincial body that looks at finding placements for students, but we've also had, through our connections at chamber meetings or discussions with town offices, opportunities for our students to join RAP program. The idea is that they find their passion kind of in grade 10 and look for RAP opportunities for them in grade 11 and 12. The numbers are there, but I just had a connection with the the off-campus coordinators last night, and the RAP numbers are exploding. Like there's a lot that are wanting to get into it, want to do it. You know, even at Redwater, I think Amanda told me last night she's got 14 that want to do it, and which is very high for that particular school. And it was, you know, in the 40s, I think, at the comp. So it's booming and continues to boom. And the more that we can expose our students to these other programs, the more that we'll want to take it, I think.
Great job.
Seeing no more questions, thank you so much for, oh, Janine, sorry, Janine.
That's okay.
You're
It's my
right
fault
there.
for not being there. I just want to say, like, we've had many discussions as a board about meeting kids where they're at and providing the education that they need. And this report really highlights that because we have academic kids who are going to go on to university or college, but we are also suiting those kids that want to go to trade school or culinary school or welding. Like, I'm just so excited that we're capturing as many of our students as we can to give them the best like start to their adult life. So good job, Sturgeon. Good job, all of our coordinators for finding these opportunities and partnerships. And it's just great to see.
Thanks, Janine.
Trustee Murray Elliott.
Well, and one last thing, recently at a conference, we had a great presentation from Careers Next Generation. And a reminder to everyone in the room that people in that capacity are always on the lookout. So no matter who's sitting beside you, you can always say, oh, do you take high school students on? So we can all help assist, look for opportunities, I think. So thank you.
Deputy Superintendent Conrad.
Thank you, Chair. John Connor, Deputy Superintendent. Connected to what Trustee Murray Elliott just said, as trustees, if you are talking to a business owner or talking to someone in community, and they are like, do you guys have RAP? Do you have these things? Get them to connect to our schools. We have off-campus coordinators in each of our high schools that understand how to have that conversation. And if they don't, they know how to find Dan Stevens, division principal, who definitely does. Also remind the board that we do have an agreement with Careers, and we have a staff who's our staff, but also is working with them as well to ensure that we are connected to that program. And it's reciprocal. They support us so that we can go into classrooms and make sure kids understand these programs exist. One thing I wanted to clarify, though, is Trustee Buga mentioned, and hopefully we'll get an enhancement grant. Yes, we are committed to applying for enhancement grants for the programs we have already and startup grants to continue to expand this programming. But I just want to remind you that is not year over year sustainable funding. In fact, if we just enhanced automotive, unless we add other automotive dual credit courses to that, they wouldn't qualify for enhancement because we got the startup, we've enhanced, and that's where it ends. So while we are dedicated to doing this, we are seeking sustainable, reliable, year over year funding to make sure our kids can have these programs.
Trustee Dwyer.
Yeah, and then thank you, Jonathan. It just reminded me, like, we should probably get somebody out to present to Rotary. I mean, it's a room full of business owners and and we're part of Rotary, and probably be a great place to make a presentation.
They were on my list to contact to do that in the new year for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do that through me, Dan. I can arrange that.
Good, thank you.
Seeing no further questions or comments, thank you so much for the presentation. It is really great to hear things like that. And we will move on to 8.2 Mental Health in Schools Pilot Project Final Report. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. So the board remembers that we actually had, this is our mental health in schools, and just a reminder, this is the pilot project that we submitted a proposal to, and we were successful, and that it is coming to an end. So the report, you saw the report that we did submit, and I asked our Director of Learning Services to come and speak about our mental health in schools project. So I will turn it over to the Director of Learning Services.
Thank you. Director of Learning Services, Shelley Greenwood. Thank you for the opportunity to be here to talk about the mental health in schools pilot. It was, is continuing to be until June, a very important project that we have been working on. We have been having conversations with Alberta Education, who initiated the pilot in the first place. And the final report for the first call is for the groups that were successful in the first iteration of the programming. There was a fairly wide open opportunities out there for when we applied, and a number of us came together to have a conversation about our projects and what we see as needs in the future. We also unanimously agreed that focusing on student mental health is a necessity going forward. This, even though this project may be coming to an end at this point, it doesn't mean that mental health is no longer a point of reference for us to support our students. This was one way that we do that. And through this project, we were able to build community partnerships and bring in supports that hadn't previously come to Sturgeon County. Families First is presenting in Bon Accord. We have a number of after school programs opportunities for our students as well through community partners of FCSS in each of the communities. And that was one of the significant drives of the pilot, was to get into our communities and have our communities come to us. It definitely opened doors and opportunities for sharing across our communities and sharing across our projects as well. Our mental health capacity building project and our mental health in schools pilot worked together to coordinate opportunities in Redwater, Bon Accord, Gibbons, and Legal, and did a number of programs over the summer, spring break, November break, and things like that. So they will have another opportunity to do that at spring break coming up in March. And that will be the last community offering that we provided through our wonderful Mindful Mentors. It has been a passion project for all of our Mindful Mentors. They absolutely are all in supporting our kids. And the narrative in our schools has changed significantly in how our students talk about mental wellness instead of mental illness. And they see their mental wellness as equally important to their physical wellness. And they are far better at understanding their own emotions and how to best support themselves. And that is through the work of our Mindful Mentors. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Trustee Buga.
Stacy Buga, Ward 5. I really appreciate, I know that the reporting behind this, because of the way that the grant's presented and the expectations, is a lot of work. I really appreciate it though. Going through this, the understanding of the number of kids that actually took part in this program. Sometimes when we hear about grants and programs being rolled out from the provincial level as trustees, we don't necessarily see, we hear about it overall, but this is a very in-depth report, and I'm really excited to see if all of the schools, with all their creative ideas, when this comes together, I believe it's U of C that's going to be analyzing this data. I really am hopeful that the provincial government sees the need and sees some of this innovation and really put some prioritization on it going forward, whatever that might look like. But I really appreciate the work that's in here. And I know that when you're looking at graphs and you're looking at colors that the government likes to see, whether things are red or green or orange, this is a very short-term project. To see any green on there, an improvement, is fantastic. And I know that just those community connections, whether this program continues or not, this great work, the foundation's been laid because of it. And I'm really excited to see what the team continues, whether or not we have further support from the government or not. But I know that this board definitely is supportive of everything that's going on. So thank you.
Trustee Murray Elliott.
Thank you. This report looks like it was a lot of work, but I really appreciate on page 21 your comments of investing in preventative measures. To me, I love seeing that. I always agree prevention is the best place to start. Also, the last paragraph, I hope the government reads this, that our staff continues to be overwhelmed. And I guess my fear is that now that this funding might be disappearing, have we learned enough to continue on in a lesser capacity probably, but so that we don't lose all the great things that have occurred through this program?
Superintendent Warren?
I'm going to interject because I know our directors that are here, and I know the board appreciates this with our cuts. You've seen how skinny our central office has become because we are trying to get as much in our schools. We are building capacity, and I have to say that the connections to our community partners have been huge. But the fact of the matter is this comes with human resources, and it's what we are always short of. Yes, we have built capacity, and I will turn it back to the directors, speak more to it, but sadly, our mindful mentors, they are our connection, they're our side. And so the loss of that means we don't have those on our side. We are very fortunate that our community partners, they are seeing the value, they see this, and we're getting better at it, which is why after 2 years, because even looking at last summer, as we prepared for this summer, when we look at our summer community activities for children, we knew they met after the summer and realized there's even more areas we can collaborate on, but sadly you are losing human resources on our side. I will turn it over to the director just to put a period at the end of that sentence.
Thank you. Yes, one of the purposes of the project was to connect our schools to our communities on a deeper level. So that was one of the key takeaways, was that our schools now have point people in the community where they know them by first name. They can call them in a situation where they don't know what to do or how to connect or who to connect to. So those connections have happened with our school counselors and our learning support leads, our principals and vice principals. So I would anticipate that we will still see community enhancements in our schools. And to our superintendent's point, it may be at a lesser capacity because we don't have that person championing it in the school. However, I think the important relationships have been built.
Any other questions? Janine, Trustee Pequin?
Thank you. So we have two different mental health programs. We have the Mindful Mentors, which was a grant, and we have the Hype out of Redwater School, which was a different AHS thing. So the Mindful Mentors is ending. Is the Hype status unknown? We're still continuing. We're not sure.
Our MHCB, so the Mental Health Capacity Building Project, is through Recovery Alberta, whereas Mental Health in Schools is actually through Alberta Education. So it's two very separate funding, even though they're both focusing on mental health. Recovery Alberta has maintained an 18-month turnover of continuation for the last 7 years. So we intend to continue with that should Recovery Alberta continue to support that. And the Mental Health in Schools pilot, though we were the first call, there is a group of second call that will also be collecting data. And like Trustee Buga said, the University of Calgary will be looking at the data and then informing the government of that. So there is anticipation of a report coming from that and hopes that there would be continued support, but they are most definitely separate and have separate requirements as well.
All right, any further questions or comments? I would just like to echo, this is a big report with a lot of information, and so thank you to the team that collected it. And thank you for continuing to advocate and support.
Thank you.
Moving to 8.4, transition to WorkSafe 8.3, Workplace Safety Report. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. I am going to turn it over to the Associate of HR, and I believe then in turn to the Director of HR, but I will start with the Associate.
Thank you very much. I will turn it right over to the Director of Human Resources, who has worked very hard on the report.
I'm Rita Raposo, Director of HR, and today I'd like to provide a brief overview of the Workplace Safety Report, focusing on occupational health and safety within our division. The full report is in your board package. Alberta continues to emphasize the importance of maintaining a safe working environment for all employees, students, and visitors, and our division is committed to complying with the OH&S standards, which aim to prevent workplace incidents and promote the well-being of our workers. Key updates from my report include the Joint Workplace Health and Safety Committee. This committee consists of representatives from all employee groups, and we play a vital role in ensuring safety compliance and providing recommendations for continuous improvement. And the committee this year welcomed 4 new members. We have not received any new complaints or investigations since our last report. The process for addressing workplace safety concerns is clear, with workers having the option to report issues through their school safety representative or directly to Alberta OH&S if necessary. Our WCB claims have seen some improvement. We work with Shelley's team as well to decrease those, but the claims still have impacted our premium rates. We have seen a decrease in claims, and I did get a report yesterday where we are coming very closely to be in alignment with the standard rate. We still have a little bit of a surcharge, but we have come a long way. So we are going to continue to provide modified work for our employees to ensure that our claims, our premium rates are staying reduced. And as well, Public School Works, we're implementing a new online platform for safety training and compliance management. We've had this program in the past, and we are bringing it back again. It helps us meet the Alberta's OH&S code standards and ensures our staff receive the necessary training to work safely. We are seeing improvements to our WCB rates and our overall safety compliance, but there is still always work to do, and we remain committed to the health and safety of all of our staff and our students. Thank you.
Questions, comments? Trustee Buga.
Stacy Buga, Ward 5. This is fantastic to see the changes and the improvements in the division to make sure that the health and safety of our staff, I mean, as well as our volunteers and our students and everybody else in the building, is getting better and closer to provincial averages and where we need to be. If you can share some insight into the how and why, is this increased training? Is it something like the Public School Works type of program that is supporting that? I know that we have invested a fair bit into professional development of our staff to really understand how to de-escalate situations and that kind of thing. Is that playing into these reduced numbers, just so that we can understand where, if there's dollars that need to go into supporting programs, where are you seeing the most value? Because this is a really important thing to us.
Thank you. I'll turn it over to Shelley because she does provide the training for our staff that I do believe has played a vital role in reducing our premiums.
One of the significant changes this year was at the beginning of the year, we had our educational assistants all trained in lifts and transfers. That has been extremely helpful in ensuring that people in the school have the awareness of how to support students who require people to support them in their movement. And having more people trained means that there's more opportunity for people to be supported so that people aren't necessarily taking risks that they shouldn't feel the need to take. So that has improved our back issues, I would suspect. The other training is through TCIS, so Therapeutic Crisis Intervention for Schools. Its focus is ensuring that we understand how to best co-regulate, teach kids how to self-regulate, so that there are significantly less opportunities for students to end in an outburst kind of state. We have seen improvements in schools that have taken on TCIS full on, and they have seen significant reductions in their educational assistants and teachers engaging with students in that capacity. So I think that has contributed to that as well. And just we do better when we know better. So when we continue to support our people to understand and learn, we will continue to see improvements along the way.
Associate Superintendent of Human Resources.
I would just like to also add that we've worked really hard with the principals this year and the last year to have modified work. So to get people back into the workplace sooner. So for instance, if they're hurt working, then we can have them doing some jobs in the office, perhaps in the library, doing some pullouts with students for reading and things like that. So we know that the faster we get someone back to work, the easier it is to have them back to work. So Rita has reached out to each principal when situations occur and has really gotten people back to work quickly.
Any further questions, comments? All right. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who puts time and effort into this project. Now we will go to 8.4, transition to Windows 11 for enhanced security and learning. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. I will turn this over to the Deputy Superintendent.
Thank you, John Conrad, Deputy Superintendent. For your information, and it does connect directly to yourselves later on in the list here, but Microsoft is ending support for Windows 10 later in 2025. There is an option to purchase additional support at a rate that's unsustainable for a school division. In light of that, the IT department has created a schedule where IT will be in schools according to the schedule here, and at that point, there will be what will be very similar to a laptop swap. They will come with several laptops that have Windows 11, and then the school will have made a schedule for when teachers, whether it's prep or however the school has arranged it, will come to where the IT is. The IT will give them a laptop that has Windows 11, and they'll take the other. They'll begin the upgrade if they can, because they can't come with all that, like they have just this buffer of devices, and then they'll swap them through, and that will continue for almost all of spring because it takes that long. No doubt there will be some hiccups along the way. It is a complete, in the technical term I've heard lots, is it's a paving of the laptop. There is nothing left. It is completely redone and comes back clean. So part of this is information for all staff that they know if for some reason they have saved in a location that isn't automatically backed up or put somewhere to the cloud or saved somewhere on their own thumb drives, then the machines are clean, which is great. They'll work great, but they may not have their files. So we've given some information for that. Prepared to take any questions.
Trustee Briggs. How is this going to affect our students throughout the year with their Chromebooks and things like that? Is it going to be a transition for them, or is it just a natural progression? Deputy Superintendent.
Thank you. As this is a Windows operating system change, it only affects Windows computers. So all of the Google Chromebooks running Google OS are unaffected by this. This is only for, and we do have some labs in some schools, very few now. We used to have many that do have Windows, and there will be a program to update those. I believe, and I'm speaking out of turn and away from the report, but I believe actually the plan for that is within summer because the number is lower. So kids, because the support runs out in October, so we're okay through spring, but for staff, we need to get them ready for this. And it's to enhance security, it's to stay within support cycle, it will improve patch deployment. It has a number of advantages in addition to we need to comply.
Okay, my question was, we're replacing the laptops. And maybe you could speak to why replace the laptops as opposed to just upgrade the software. Yes, please.
We actually connected with some divisions that have already done this, and an absolute resounding recommendation was do not try to upgrade in place. It's not the same as a personal upgrade because of the ties to division and its division hardware. Experience by the two divisions that did it was resoundingly poor, and then now a staff doesn't have a laptop for 2 weeks, it is a problem but we will ensure model same, because you're coming to the school, like we will do everything we can to make it as little disruption as possible. I'll let you personally know this is the second computer I've started with this year physically, and I'm doing okay. The thing that we don't want is to try to do an upgrade in place, as you would do personally. I've done it personally on my own devices and it seems to work okay. And then have it break and then go into a cycle of this one broke, that one broke, I need this tomorrow, and there is no tomorrow, I'm going to get to it, and now it's 2 weeks later and we still don't have our laptop back. This is a clear, planned, teachers come and they walk away with a fully working Windows laptop. They log in, they're immediately working in front of kids with their lessons, log into their Google Classrooms, and that is why this was designed.
Okay, I'd heard that there's also space issues with the upgrade to Windows 11, and computers that are being used running Windows 10 may not have the capacity, so probably just as good an idea as any. Trustee Briggs?
I'm sure these dates were carefully thought out. We don't want to add any undue stress to staff during reporting periods or exam periods. So I hope that was taken into consideration for all our staff.
Trustee Dwyer, did I see your hand up?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that report. Moving to 8.5, Building Futures. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. So as the board is aware, and we've talked about this, we thought that it was important as we lead into the 25-26 registration blitz as soon as very quick when we come back after Christmas, as we do every year, that it is important that we start to talk about our Building Futures program to be initiated next year so that the comp can actually advertise. So we thought that a forward-facing report would be great. I will turn it over to the deputy, who will in turn turn it over to the division principal.
Thank you, John Conrad, Deputy Superintendent. And it's important to note that Division Principal Dan Stevens has been doing the hard work to get this going. But I just wanted a moment to say it was incredible to be freezing in the cold at a job site where we saw and talked to 15-year-olds that couldn't be more engaged with their learning, that couldn't speak more concretely to what they were doing and how it connected to what they might do or might not do later in life, which was equally as valuable. Also hearing, from our partner, San Rufo Homes, and hearing from, Mike with Building Futures, and I can't remember, Dan will know the name of the person who was from Coventry Homes, which really started and was part of the brainchild, or however you say that, when a great idea needs some support and help, and they really helped get that going within the province. We're privileged to be one of the few beginning, and I know they're going to try to extend it across the province. The detail in here gives you an idea in general what the program is. We have shared before, though, is open to everyone. There are some restrictions on how to get your child to this program, but it's open to everyone within Sturgeon Public Schools for grade 10, so it's for high school students, and it is an on-site. It's all of their education. In addition to the hands-on, they also do and work with teachers through their English and math and science. And it was also fun to hear how creatively they meet those outcomes as well. I will ask Dan, the division principal, if you'd like to just highlight a couple of things with the program.
Yeah, Dan Stephen, division principal. Not much other than what's in the report, but just excited to get to the the feeder schools and the grade 9 students in the third week of January. So myself, the head of the program, Mike Lees, and have an administrator from the high school as well, just to connect with the students and go and talk about the program. We'll follow that up with a parent information night a couple weeks later, just at a central location, so all the parents can come and hear about the program as well. And then we'll start hopefully get a robust turnout for those and be able to pare down to 24 to 30 students in the program once we get started.
Trustee Murray Elliott.
I'm curious because I hear it's all on site. How do they get their math, social, English instruction on site?
Yeah, so the garage is the first thing completed, and that turns into a classroom. So we set up the tech in there, we set up a projector, a display, we bring Chromebooks in there, we set up tables, and that's where it's the classroom for them. We'll have a teacher that will do a couple of the classes, another teacher does the other couple, and then they're kind of rotating through the house in cycles depending on what needs to be done, whether that's framing, some electrical, whatever it might be. They just kind of rotate through, and the teacher's probably teaching the same lesson 2 or 3 times in the day, but they're all getting the information as they go through in the garage.
Trustee Buga.
Stacy Buga, Ward 5. Further to that, what courses are going to be is there, I mean, you can't obviously offer all the courses for 20 to 30 children. Is it going to be module based kind of through the learning centers so they can customize their education, or can they get, you know, a -1 diploma versus?
Yep, so not all the courses, but we will have, you know, the math, the 10C and the 10-3 will be offered. Staffing for this is going to be crucial. You know, we need somebody that's flexible, adaptable, able to have a breadth of knowledge that can accommodate many courses and different streams. And we have those in the division. There are a number of people that would be suited for this. But yeah, they could do 10C and 10-3. Not so much module based, but they would spend some time with the lesson, spend 20 minutes. Okay, work on this. I'll work with the 10-3s now. And then same with science, 10 and 14, language arts, both the streams will be there. Then they'll also have Phys Ed 10, COM, and then a bunch of CTS credits as well. So, you know, they won't have they won't have access to cause or anything like that. You know, the different trades that or options that are going on, drama, those kind of things. But they will have a full complement of courses and access to their streams to meet their needs.
I just want to say how utterly and completely impressed I am with the creativity of this project. Like, I'm super excited to see how it rolls out, and, you know, maybe at the end of the house building, the students see it fit to tour the trustees through maybe. But it's just blows my mind, the creativity. So thank you. Trustee Buga, and then Superintendent Warren.
Sorry, one more. I know that there's a lot of grants and external resources that support these types of programs. Is there going to be a significant fee to the students that are part of this program, or that's kind of, we're not there yet?
No, there will. Oh, there will be a fee. Not significant, no more than there would be for their shop classes or their regular CTS complement of courses that they would get charged for throughout the year. So we're trying to keep that reasonable, but there is going to be a little charge to cover some of the costs that we'll have with transportation to field trips for them. You know, some of the small hand tools that maybe we don't ask them to purchase themselves, that we just need to supply for the project. So there will be a small fee, and we hope to achieve some grants as well to cover some things. And another one I'll hit up Rotary for maybe down the road as well, and their other community partners as well, for sure.
Superintendent Warren.
And yeah, just before we leave this, because this is a public board meeting, I really would love to give a shout out to Coventry Homes, because the brainchild behind this, they started it, it's growing. And now for Mike Lease for growing this, because these are passionate people in the trades who saw the gap, and they have been unbelievable. And there's been a lot of work. Coventry Homes has been in Parkland. Is this their third or fourth year out in Parkland is where they had started. And just how, as you know, they're dealing with kids. And so with our safety requirements, our kids they can't go up on a ladder so high. So it's not like they can get on a roof and do that stuff. And they have been so creative. Like, for example, they bring in the boom lift to do, they get to start roofing, they do it on the ground and lift it on. Like, they've really morphed this to meet the needs of our students. It's amazing, and I'm really looking forward to when the board gets to go see when it's up and going. Or I don't know if we can manage to even sneak in on the St. Albert so you can see where they were. It was very wonderful, but I have to give a shout out to those people, because this is coming from people who truly saw a need, but also have worked so hard with the tradespeople that we are working with to explain to them, remember, these are kids. And it's just, it's so exciting. I can't wait to see where this goes and even how they are morphing, and they're working so hard to make it so that school divisions, it can be sustainable. And I think that's one of the great work. I do want to give a shout out to Mike Lees because he's really working the government to say this is a need, and now let's look at how we can make it affordable.
Absolutely. Deputy Superintendent.
Thank you, Chair. Deputy Superintendent John Conrad. In a similar voice that I shared earlier, Minister Nicolaides highlighted that the demand for students to have hands-on experiential career education programming is growing. There currently is no Alberta education funding, extra funding going toward a program like this. We have great community partners. Appreciate the shout out to Coventry Homes, Mike Lees with Building Futures, our partner, San Rufo Homes. We really have great community support, which is fantastic. Love to have a little more Alberta education support with this program.
Trustee Murray Elliott, I think you might be thinking the same thing I am, but go for it.
I just want to point out that I really appreciate our administration at the comp because they are so positive and excited. And I don't think we could have this going forward the way it is without their help and support as well. So just glad that everybody on the team is going in the same direction. And thanks to Dan for his hard work on this.
Trustee Gibbons.
Since we're giving shout outs, I would like to shout out to senior admin, the directors, everybody, because it's that initiative that you took for innovative education and figuring out how can we bring this in. So without you guys seeing that great idea and thinking, how can we do this in our schools? So good job.
Yes. And personally, I've been advocating for keeping our kids in our communities as long as we can, for as long as I've been on this board. And I feel that this is a really positive step in showing our students that the opportunities in our communities exist, that they are open to them, and that they don't have to leave our communities to be successful, that there's opportunities here now and for them. So yeah, I just want to huge thank you to everybody who had hands on this. And we're going to move on to 8.6 now. School education plans. Superintendent Warren, I believe you'll be starting us off here.
Yes, thank you, Chair. And yes, this is for information. It is clearly laid out in our APs and when you are about our school education plans and how they get communicated at school council by the principals, but I'm going to turn it over to the deputy.
Thank you, John Conrad, Deputy Superintendent, for your information and direct links to all the locations on our websites for our school education plans. They are in alignment with our division plan to have empowered learning and healthy school communities and responsible leadership and leadership opportunities. You will find in there the data that they are reflecting on, both conversational and qualitative as well as quantitative, part of the Alberta assurance measures that they've called out, or our student or staff surveys that identify how they're going to know how did we grow in this area. They are an evolving document, so what you see on the website, it's public, it's open to all members of our community, is this snapshot. The document actually is live for our principals to work on throughout the year. And for direct support, I would give a shout out and thank you to Director of Education Planning, who supports and meets with every one of the principals to go over their plan and to discuss strong evidence, what to use and what might be less strong. And so thank you to that department. They'll be updated by the end of the year. Last year, we updated them at the June, like they were updated throughout the year, but we put the final touches actually in June. So just so you're not refreshing regularly, they won't be updated likely till the end of the year. Prepared to take any questions.
I'll start by saying thank you for linking all of the school's reports. There's no way I could have gotten through all of them, but I did take a look at some of the other schools, and it's really interesting to see where everybody's at. I mean, we see a global picture. We never get to see the breakdown. So I just want to say thank you for linking all of them. Yeah, some schools will have interesting conversations, I feel, but anybody else have questions, comments, concerns regarding the ed plans? Okay, well, thank you. That's a lot of work to everybody who spends time on them. It was a lot of work reading them, so can't imagine putting them together, but thank you to those who did. We will move to 8.7 communications report November and December. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair, and I will turn it over to the deputy.
Thank you. For your information is our monthly snapshot of what the communications department is doing to support our education plan, to promote the mission, vision, values of the board, and align with the goals that the team has created this year. They supported the engagement at Gibbons, which I know many trustees were a part of. Also, I hope you saw the celebration of our great young athletes that came across social media. That was a big part of the last little while. And they also were on the road again, thankfully before all of the snow. And we're in each of our schools supporting, elbow partnering alongside as we continue to build the capacity within our schools to post directly, to share their stories directly. Prepared to take any questions.
Trustee Buga.
Stacey Buga, Ward 5. I like the communication report. I like to see, you know, the data, the quantifiables behind, you know, some of the things that you just see out in the news or at your schools, what people are talking about. But I really like, I know that there's a big push for the Google reviews, and I know at every school council I had, you know, principals handing out QR codes and, you know, making sure that it's as easy as possible to get everybody in there. And it worked. Quite honestly, I was a bit skeptical because I know a lot of people, okay, yeah, right? You're often asked to do surveys, you're often asked to do various things, but it really worked. There's some great numbers being shown and hopefully some honest reviews. And I think that was a really great initiative. And I think it allowed parents directly to see that, okay, when I think about it, I do have some pride in my school, and it causes a moment of reflection. And being able to share that pride, I think, helps our whole community when we're looking at some of those AEAM issues where, you know, parents and students maybe aren't on the same page on what they know and what they feel about the schools. But I think this moment of reflection to give that review, maybe we'll see some more cohesive thoughts when it comes to some of that data coming up. That was my link between everything. I thought that was interesting.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, we'll move to 8.8, the 24-25 Superintendent Discretionary Fund. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. So this will be the last report that you see this year for the Superintendent Discretionary Fund, as all funds have been utilized. The comps enrollment was up, and so for semester 2, we are adding some additional teaching staff to support them. And so, yes, so that is it. The funds are depleted.
I just want to say it always makes me nervous when we go into the second semester with nothing left for emergencies. You know, we just can never be sure that we aren't going to end up with a high flyer in one of our schools that moves into our communities. And what if any plan is in place to deal with issues of that nature? Superintendent?
Yeah, so I will say, just to remind the board, our funding is our funding. I know this government does like to give us dollars throughout the year, but historically, superintendent might leave one FTE as a superintendent discretionary. even when I'm bringing this report, this is not all the needs in our schools. This is prioritizing, and we have to look at that, like where are our pressure points? So you've heard from every other trustee in the province. After September 30th, and now with weighted moving average, you gain those kids. We are very creative in what we do. And that is what we do. We have students coming at all times, and sometimes well, there is no funding. So our schools do a great job at looking at the resources we have. If any of those students move in after the point, I don't know if you wanted to add anything else to that or not.
I was just going to add, we have just with some additional students, especially in the PUF area and the moderate language delay, has created a little bit of contingency there as well too, that the team will use to manage needs as they come in and out. As we get new students, sometimes students leave us though as well too, and that frees up things. So it's a juggling act. We're best to manage.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? All right, seeing none, we will move on to the superintendent's report. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. Again, provided as information for the board is my superintendent report.
Questions, comments regarding the superintendent's report? Super Trustee Buga, sorry.
Super Trustee Buga, Ward 5.
Or Super Trustee Buga, yeah.
Again, I appreciate this report just to see what's going on. This meeting in particular, we got some really great reports from some of our, various departments. But because we don't want to bog down all of our workers with reporting, we appreciate those annual reports, but seeing them in your monthly report, we understand how much is going on to make these things happen. That's a lot of meetings. We're thinking very much outside the box, and that really shows up in your report, how many external partners we're creating and how much work is being done outside of our central office from the superintendent's desk. So thank you very much. It shows, and it allows our team to create such amazing things, because this has been a really exciting meeting so far today. I've really appreciated all of the success stories and cheering.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to Administrative Procedure 206, school attendance area and request to attend a school outside of the designated attendance area. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. So just like policies, we have regular review of administrative procedures, and sometimes we create new administrative procedures based on a need. So just with the change of the word choice has become a difficult word for boards to manage. So we felt that it is very important that we help our school-based leadership. And that is from everything from transportation across, that everybody, including our stakeholders and our parents, understand that the Education Act and legislation is very clear, and that you as a board are mandated to educate, and you are responsible for educating and supporting the students that live inside Sturgeon Public Schools Division jurisdictional boundary. And that any non-resident students that live outside that jurisdictional boundary, that they are not our students. It does not mean we cannot take them, but it's very clear in the Education Act that is based on room and resources for those students. When we talk about our students that live inside the jurisdictional boundary, as a board, you are mandated by legislation that you must define attendance areas, and you must review your attendance areas. And also you hold your parents to that, our families to that, that there are attendance areas. So this is also to support our families to understand that you could apply to attend to one of the schools that is not in your attendance areas, but it is the legislation and policy is very clear that it is also based on room resources, and that transportation is not guaranteed. So these were to help provide clarification and to define very clearly what does school of choice mean, what does resident mean, non-resident mean, for all those involved, to make it clear. So This was brought to our principals for feedback. This is not the first time you have also seen this AP before at a committee of the whole. And so it is now public facing and is up on the website.
Questions, comments? Trustee Buga? It's okay, I've got one too.
Stacy Bugle, Ward 5. I just wanted to clarify whether it fits into this AP or if that's a different space for it. But in some of our regions or our communities that have more than one division present, does this affect students who live within our jurisdiction but have gone to the other school division and back and forth? And does that school of choice apply within this context, or does that sit in a different space?
That is not a school of choice wording, that is residency. So that is something we work with our schools. So if there is another board that actually has jurisdictional, if there's a 4x4 or whatever, they have a jurisdictional rights there that they can take children. That's residency. So again, it's very clearly laid out in the Education Act. If you are Catholic and you identify that we are a Catholic family, the Catholic School Division is actually your resident board. So that is residency and non-residency. And those are conversations that are had. That is more based on individual schools. And again, we also have to remember that with the government opening up the boundaries, as in for transportation, if the parents, they just have to sign off. We don't have to get permission from another board, right? If they want to come to us, if they live in for that. So it's a little different in that one because it's not blanket wide across the division. We work more just with the principals, but it's also laid out very clearly in the Education Act.
Trustee Murray Elliott?
Just a little bit of clarification. I don't know if it can be clarified. For some schools, well, a school in our division has a very high non-resident student population, and I know this is a big concern among the parents that any year their student could potentially be told, no, you can no longer come to this school. I'm happy to see that it actually states here that resident students, even though they reside in another attendance area, will be given preference over non-resident students. So that will help our resident parents. For non-resident students, it sounds like it is just totally 100% up to the principal. There's no grandfathering. So a child that's been there for 6 years might have no higher standing than a new child coming into a grade that is overcrowded. So it's simply strictly principal decision.
So I'll just remind the board, it's actually legislation. So this is, even though the principle, it's based on room resources, this is legislation. It is a little bit, I mean, Sturgeon Heights, it's in the middle of St. Albert. I mean, it's there. But this is about that. We work very closely with our principals. Yes, we've had some schools that do have non-resident families who have been there. So these are discussions that we would look at. But again, I will just remind the board, it's not just one school. We have a couple other schools that have quite a few non-resident students. When we talk about funding and how we are funded, we have to be very careful. And remember, as a board, you are responsible for your resident students. That is legislation. And so it's about that. And when the principal, if they can accept, it's based on room resources. So it's very much about the legislation. And also just communicating with our families so that they actually understand that when you come to our school, you're non-resident. So we've always had the non-resident forms. It's all been in place. It's just we have really worked to get this clearly forward-facing, laid out, very clear for our families so they understand. And this is very timely just because with the government talking about parent choice, it has blurred lines and people are a bit confused. But those blurred lines of words do not change legislation. So the Education Act is very clear. So that is always what we stand by, is this is legislation. And is it difficult sometimes? Because of course we love it that families love our schools. Absolutely. But again, you must, and you are responsible for our resident students.
All right, seeing no further questions or concerns, we'll move to 8.11 Administrative Procedure 464 Fees. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. I will turn this over to the Associate Superintendent of Corporate Services.
Thank you, Superintendent. So in the AP, there are just some minor changes, specifically to just be a little bit more general, because we do have special ed programming in addition to open air kindergarten. There's the same idea, just called a different name. So we just try to make it a little bit more general so it encompasses all of our naming. The exhibit for the fee waiver application had an expiry kind of date on it. So we've changed that and updated it, tried to make the process a little bit more clear, added some instructions. I will note we removed the exceptional circumstances because that was proving to be quite difficult. And we will be requiring some sort of documentation from somewhere. Yeah, it was just not working the best of a process and quite time consuming. So we just try to help clean that up and make it a little bit more efficient.
Questions, comments, concerns regarding AP 464? Seeing none, we will move on to section 9, reports from trustees and standing committees. We'll start with my report. Chair's report is available in the package for your review. I would say that the meeting with Minister Nally, or rather MLA Nally, at his office earlier this month was the highlight. I think we were able to communicate effectively regarding our concerns, and I think that he really was listening and he heard us. So looking forward to our follow-up meeting in January with him. Trustee Buga, let's go your way.
My highlight, my report is in the package for you to take a look at. Some of my highlights: the Sturgeon Comp Christmas concert is just lovely every year. I know a lot of people see me there and like, is your kid performing? Is your kid performing? And no, they're not, but I just love it. I love going every year. So that was fantastic. And it was really exciting to have Four Winds do their first winter concert as well. It's been a while, and I was there for their dress rehearsal in the afternoon. But I guess when they got through a couple of hiccups there, the evening performance was fantastic. So it was really nice to see. It's the community in Morinville really has that performing arts vibe to it. They absolutely love it. And it's really great to see Four Winds starting to build that tradition with their students. That's all.
Trustee Gibbons.
Thank you. Trustee Gibbons, Ward 7, my report is submitted. My highlight was the winter carnival that Landing Trail had at the beginning of the month. Lovely weather. The community came out, fire department was there, families were there. The fire department made a donation to the PIA. I think it's the Sturgeon, is it Sturgeon River Egg Society? Can't remember their name. In Gibbons, they gave a huge donation to the PIA towards their playground. So they had some photo ops with that, and they collected for the food bank and they had toys for the food bank. So yeah, it was fun had by all.
Trustee Dwyer.
Yeah, just the highlights. I mean, everything normal, but all the Christmas stuff, the concerts, and I know the Camilla School's gone out. Well, I was there, attended the 2 shows that they had at the Villeneuve Seniors Home there. That was excellent. And our colony will be doing theirs on Thursday, but tomorrow. That's about it. Everything else normal.
Okay. Trustee Pequin.
My report is submitted now. It was not submitted in time to make the package, so I apologize for that. December is the month of Christmas concerts. So Redwater School had their annual band concert and grade 5s sing. And it's great. And Oker Parks is tomorrow, which I look forward to.
Thank you. Trustee Briggs.
My report has been submitted in the board package. December is just a magical month in schools. There's always lots going on. Students are excited, teachers and staff are exhausted, people are sick, people are coughing. It's a great time. It's a busy month. Wish everyone a wonderful, relaxing holiday and see you in January.
Trustee Maria Elliott.
My report has been submitted. The highlights have to be the 2 concerts. The Sturgeon Heights concert with the little people is always so much fun. I attended the matinee, and so that's always interesting with a few hiccups. The biggest hiccup being when we lost one of our grade 3 classes in the shuffle. And Mr. Ruckwa, Mr. Stevenson and I were trying to decide who was going to tell Shauna that we lost a grade 3 class. Finally, they appeared. So, and then that evening, I was fortunate to attend the Sturgeon Comp concert, which to me is like a night at the Windspear at a fraction of the cost. But the dedication and talent of our staff and students is amazing to me. And that's always one of my favorite events of the year. And I'm looking forward to festive lunch tomorrow at Sturgeon Heights.
I would be remiss and possibly in personal danger if I didn't mention Nemeo's Wild Robot Adventure. And it's a testament to maybe some of our Gibbons families who are a little apprehensive about possibly joining grades and classes together. So over the first 4 months of the year, the entire school, all grades, all staff read the book Wild Robot. And on the 13th, they, as an entire school, less 2 people who stayed behind to answer phones, the entire school went to the movie theater in St. Albert to watch the movie. And buddy readers, so the junior highs who were buddied with lower grades, sat together in the theater, watched the movies together. They read the book together, they watched the movie together. It was really fantastic. And I had an opportunity to speak to some of the students out in the foyer afterwards and asked, which was better, the book or the movie? And not even a second thought, no moments of hesitation. They all agreed that the book was much better. So it's an opportunity to see how cross-graded activities work beautifully and everybody was supported. So I just wanted to shout out to Nemeo for putting that together. And we will move to 9.3 Committee of the Whole report. 9.3.1 CASA Classroom Targeted Funding Advocacy Letter. Who would like to start off on this?
I guess I can start off on that. I led the conversation. At our last committee of the whole meeting, we did have some discussion after the presentation from our Director of Education Services.
Sorry.
Shelley Greenwood.
Services.
Learning Service, thank you. And some good discussion about what CASA classrooms look like in our division, as we were one of the very first to jump onto this adventure. Coming out of that, I had asked that a motion come to this meeting in order to present a good advocacy letter in collaboration with CASA, so that we are advocating to multiple ministries with the same voice. And I would like to put that out there if anybody would like to make that motion today or speak to, or if anybody has any thoughts on it as well.
I'll speak. So I'd like to make the motion that the Board of Trustees directs the superintendent to work with CASA to draft an advocacy letter for the board to advocate for targeted funding for teacher FTE in the CASA classrooms effective 2025-2026. I speak in favor of this motion primarily because I don't know that this was communicated clearly from the beginning. And I think that having been one of the first participants in this collaboration, it's incumbent on our board to ensure that other boards, other regions around the province are aware of the additional costs of the FTE. I think that we have a good thing going and we are making great strides in and continuing the success, but this is definitely something that needs to be on everybody's radars, including the education ministers. So I speak in favor. Trustee Gibbons?
Thank you. I too speak in favor of this motion. I think it's important that we advocate for the funding that we're incurring for a program that has been beneficial. And I'm not sure if this is the right place for the ask. Is there, yes, we need for the targeted funding, that's our specific request. Is there some way that we could also get speaking notes or sound bites on the program if we're asked by other trustees what's working, what's not working, what kind of things should you consider, other than my typical go-to of have your superintendent call my superintendent. That's just a thought.
Perfect. Thank you. Trustee Briggs?
I do speak in motion. I do speak in favor of this motion. We're incurring the cost for this program that is very important to have in our division, but we're not only providing it for our division, we're providing it for the divisions around us. I think it's very important that we have an advocacy letter to the Minister of Education to help support this program.
Any further questions, comments, concerns? Then I call the question. Let me get back, sorry. That the Board of Trustees directs the superintendent to work with CASA to draft an advocacy letter for the board to advocate for targeted funding for teacher FTE in the CASA classrooms effective 2025-2026. All in favor? Okay, yes, okay, all in favor unanimously. And we will move on to 9.3.2, letter regarding survey design and accurate data. Superintendent Warren, do you want to start this off with some context, please?
Sure. Just as discussed, so this is again, the board had asked for a letter in support of Wolf Creek's advocacy letter. And so as discussed previously at Committee of the Whole, these are long-standing items that school divisions have been asking for a long time. Data is very important to us. Data drives everything we do. Because again, why are we doing the things we're doing? And if we don't have the data to show things are making a difference, then why do it? And it is very frustrating. And like I said, this is not a new topic. It's been around for a very long time. We've been asking this for a very long time. That these are things that actually would help us to have more valid data that actually will help us drive the work forward instead of making comments like, wow, that's a really low participation rate. Or it's very frustrating when we have that many people checking a box. Is it out of lack of understanding or what it's about? And so why would it, if someone is checking, I don't know, why would it actually go against us? Because again, it doesn't tell us anything if someone says, I don't know. So this is it's timely. This is something I mean, we've been saying it for years. So what we've done is we've basically taken Wolf Creek's, we've given a couple different examples, but it is a letter of support around the same things because again, we care very much about our data. And so it's about two things. It's the timeliness because this is not data we just look at and stop. This is data we have to dig into and analyze. And then we base our ed plan on it. Everything we do, we look at it, and then we put it with our other data that we also use. So, yeah, this is a draft letter. So this is the board. If there's any changes that you would like to see in the letter, we can do that. This is the draft.
Trustee Buga?
I really like what's written. Again, it's mirroring what Wolf Creek had put out a couple of weeks ago. And I think it's important that the education minister hears a lot about funding and gaps and that kind of thing. This is a very simple ask that they actually give us valid data. They judge us on it. We improve based on data. And if it's not valid, we're really struggling to fill out the reports when they end up not having a lot of value when it comes to those I don't knows and those check boxes that aren't quite telling the whole picture, as well as the, you know, seeing red on the spreadsheets because there was a decline of 2% or some very small increment. So I think this is really valuable for the education minister to see it over and over again, that data matters to schools. We actually use it. We're not just reporting to them. We want to use the data well. And so I think this is really important. And yes, it's been said again, and yes, it's not a new issue, but the more that somebody sees it, 7 touch points before the message gets through, let's keep pushing it. I very much support this.
Trustee Murray Elliott?
I also support this because yes, data is very important. And it's almost to the point now where sometimes I feel that the data results we are getting are skewed because of these inaccuracies. So yes, I do support having better and more accurate data. Does that include having more comment spaces rather than just ticking off boxes? I don't know.
Just from my perspective, I would just like to ask that these letters be not only sent to our ministerial counterparts, but also to our provincial associations or fraternal organizations. And the more times people outside of government see it as well. So in other words, our surrounding boards throughout the province, I think the more traction this will get. So if I could ask for that to go out to everybody, that would be lovely. Superintendent Warren.
And I just asked for so the CC on the back of the letter, if there's somebody else, so we have all school divisions and president of ASB. So if there's anybody else that you are wanting it to be.
Well, you've missed ASBAA. So that is our Public School Boards Association, and they also need to see it. Thanks. Oh, and Trustee Gibbons. And then Trustee Pequin.
I just have a thought because I don't have an answer. Is this something that we would want to communicate to our MLAs as well, just to keep them in the loop? Not that they're directed to it, but that they know what some of our issues are? I don't know. That's why I'm asking the group what the thought is.
I think that our ministerial counterparts need to see this as well. I mean, we're advocating on behalf of ourselves, but to say that we're going to leave it to one organization to be responsible entirely for communicating it to the appropriate ministries is short-sighted, I'd say. So I'd like to see it go to the Minister of Education, both of our provincial organizations and board chairs throughout the province. And MLAs. Our two MLAs. Trustee Pequin?
Is this letter linked in your guys' agenda package?
Last committee of the whole.
Okay. I'm just struggling to find it.
Any other comments? Anything else, Janine?
No.
Okay. All right, so seeing none, we'll move to number 10, reports from special committees, task groups. 10.1, Alberta School Boards Association representative. Oh, sorry, I checked off, my bad. I'm so sorry, everybody. 9.4 is policy committee report. Anything to report, Trustee Pequin?
We have nothing to report at this time.
Now we're moving to 10, reports from special committees and task groups. 10.1, Alberta School Boards Association representative. Trustee Buga.
The budget was passed at the past Zone 2-3 meeting, as well as the updated procedures. Those summary minutes have been put out to all of the trustees. And just a quick note that one of the PDs that sessions that we had at our last Zone 2-3 meeting was with Karen Bruno and Jane Slesser from 13th Moon. And so they shared a bit about forwarding reconciliation as a trustee and what that looks like in our work as governors as well. So they recommended a couple of really good books. One was Living in Indigenous Sovereignty, and the other was Braiding Sweetgrass, which I believe some of our staff are doing some PD around that as well through the Outdoor Learning Center. Both fantastic. Well, okay, I haven't read one of them. I'm hoping to read Living in Indigenous Sovereignty, and Braiding Sweetgrass is one of my favorites. Yeah, beyond that, the minutes are out for you to take a look at what happened in the Zone 2-3 meeting.
Thank you, Trustee Buga. 10.2, Public School Boards Association of Alberta representative, Trustee Briggs.
Well, we kind of have two representatives going on right now. So we have forwarded some emails to the trustees, and we will be talking about one of the emails in camera later on today. Trustee Murray Elliott, do you have anything else?
Okay, thank you. 10.3, Rotary report, Trustee Dwyer.
Yeah.
Your microphone's not on.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Janine. So they did do PD, and I think 20 of them attended that, if I remember the number right. So there's lots going on there, but that's all I have to report from the Rotary.
Thank you. 10.4, Chamber of Commerce meetings. I can start this with St. Albert. I have not attended a meeting in December. Looking forward to some meetings that are coming in the new year. Trish, maybe you and I can touch base on those afterwards. Okay. Chamber meetings elsewhere. Trustee Buga?
Morinville Chamber meetings, the last 3 have been on the same time as our Committee of the Whole days. I am hoping, I believe their next one is January 8th, which is offset of our Committee of the Whole, so I hope to attend that one.
And 10.5, Community Services Advisory Board, Trustee Briggs.
Last meeting was in November. The next meeting is in January, so I hope to have a report at the end of January.
Thank you. Unfinished business, any? No. 12, comment and question period. Anything from our online group, Deputy Superintendent?
No, nothing, Chair.
Thank you. Seeking a motion to go in camera at this time. Trustee Briggs, all in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you to our online participants. We will be back briefly to adjourn the meeting once we are done our in-camera session. Thank you. Yes, Trish. Yes, we have a bio break right now, 10 minutes. Be back for noon.
What time is?
No.